Follow the 2021-22 Premier League season on the OneFootball app, with breaking news stories, match stats and live scores. Get customized push notifications to receive team news, goal alerts and more. Download it for free, the link is in the description. Largely thanks to the heroics of Mohamed Salah, a score of 88 points in Gameweek 9 was just enough for a small green arrow, up to 169k. Late goals spoiled the party at the back, with both Arsenal and Man City conceding in the final 10 minutes of their otherwise comfortable wins over Aston Villa and Brighton respectively. Ramsdale was beaten by a Jacob Ramsey wonder strike that curled into the top corner from 20 yards out, while Cancelo and Diaz lost out to an Alexis McAllister penalty. But clean sheets and assists from the remaining two defenders somewhat balanced things out. Alexander-Arnold picked out an unmarked Diogo Jota for a tap-in at the back post, while Rudiger won a penalty after his goalwood shot was denied by a handball. The midfield was left in a sorry state after both Mbeumo and Raphinha suffered injuries before the 60-minute mark, and it was once again left to Mohamed Salah to pick up the pieces. There was a big slice of fortune in giving him captaincy after Romelu Lukaku suffered that injury midweek. But the Belgians' replacement Jamie Vardy didn't do much better. He picked up a knock in the warm-up against Brentford and only lasted until half-time. Alongside him, Mikel Antonio scored the only goal in West Ham's win over Spurs, while Raul Jimenez was back in the starting 11 to reprise his partnership with Hee-Chan Hwang. So let's move on to discuss the future transfer plans ahead of Game Week 10. There are 3 injury doubts to consider, but I'm hopeful of being able to make use of the bench with Bukayo, Saka and Tino Livramento, rather than having to use a transfer. We should get more concrete news on the injuries later in the week, but my gut feeling is that Raphinha is the one most likely to miss out in Game Week 10. If it transpires that he's set to be out for a while, Mason Mount is a potential replacement. Of course, he isn't going to score a hat-trick or face Norwich every week, but his starting place looks fairly secure again after that performance, and Chelsea's fixtures throughout the remainder of the year are still promising. Phil Foden would be my first choice for a replacement if the extra funds were available, but I don't intend to take a hit for him this week. Again, the intention for me is still very much to get away without using a transfer at all if possible. I'm hopeful that Jamie Vardy's withdrawal against Brentford was more precautionary than anything too serious, but if that doesn't turn out to be the case and if he is set to be sidelined, it would then make sense to sell. Ivan Toney is a player I've been watching for a while now. I had penciled in getting him for Antonio in Game Week 11, but if I had to sell Vardy this week, he could come in sooner. That would then leave money in the bank to upgrade Antonio or Jimenez to a premium forward down the line. But again, these are just plan B options for if the injuries turn out to be more serious. The intention, all being well, is to save a transfer, and let's take a look at how the team is set to line up for Saturday's Game Week 10 deadline. Arsenal have slipped down to 4th for XG conceded in the last 4 game weeks, trailing Leicester, Man City and West Ham. The Foxes have scored 10 goals in that time, with only Chelsea and Liverpool faring better, and no side have landed as many as their 27 shots on target, so Aaron Ramsdale may well be tested in this one. It's set to be an unchanged back 4, despite Tino Livramento doing his best to push for a starting place. Brighton and Newcastle each rank amongst the bottom 4 teams for expected goals in the last 4 game weeks. Crystal Palace have fared a little better with 6 goals in that time, but no side have restricted opponents to fewer shots than Man City. For the sake of this preview, I'm going to assume that Raphinha isn't available for the weekend, but if we were to get more positive news on him, he'd keep his place ahead of Bukayo Saka. It was Emile Smith-Rowe who picked up the points against Aston Villa, but Saka took twice as many shots, and no teammate could better his 0.69 non-penalty expected goals figure. Mbeumo has been ruled out of Brentford's EFL Cup tie midweek, with a minor hamstring issue, but Thomas Frank is hopeful of the Frenchman being available for Saturday. He's had 2 big chances in the last 4 game weeks, on par with Saka, and only 5 midfielders have managed more. Burnley rank amongst the bottom 5 teams for XG conceded in the same period. No forward has fired as many shots as Mikel Antonio in the last 4 game weeks, where he scored 2 goals. Only Josh King and Christian Benteke can better his 3 big chances in that time. Whilst Jamie Vardy is doubtful after his half-time withdrawal last game week, he'll do everything he can to be back fit to face Arsenal. He's scored more Premier League goals against the Gunners than any other side, with 11 in 13 matches. Raul Jimenez has been directly involved in 4 goals over the last 4 game weeks, to average 6 points per game, despite taking only 5 shots. He's up against an Everton side that fell to pieces in defeat to Watford last game week, shipping 4 times in the last 15 minutes. They now have the 4th worst XG conceded figure in their last 4 game weeks, ranking ahead of only Watford, Man United and Aston Villa. Mohamed Salah continued his unbelievable start to the season with a hat-trick at Old Trafford last Sunday, producing his 6th double-figure return in 9 matches. He's averaged an astounding 14.3 points per game in the last 4 game weeks, ranking top for just about every metric, with 18 shots, 8 big chances and 4 big chances created. Brighton have only shipped 9 goals this season, but 4 of those came at the hands of Man City last weekend. And the Seagulls rank 6th worst for XG conceded in the last 4 game weeks.